Good good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Game. We're off here to the Monday Night Fight. We're off to look at some less than experienced players. Mistakes are to happen. Things are not going to go well or very straightforward. And that is rather the purpose of the Monday Night Fight, to look at these things and explain then why could these be happening and what could have been done better. We shall be looking here at VonKluge fighting for Germany, Deutschland, and the 245th Infantry to be showing up here against Heretik fighting for the Soviet Union, and the 50th Rifle Corps. Noting his brother gone off guard, rifle combined arms right away. We're noting a early split support weapon company, one company squad, conscripts on the way. Somewhat usual opening there in some regards. Not a bit more used to seeing it in a 2 versus 2. VonKluge there with infantry on the way. Grenadiers arriving for Deutschland. And noting an early maxim right there for Heretik. Moving out here, southern movements. Not that unusual, although you're more used to the sort of splitting up initially with large amounts of infantry. Of course, going for an early maximum, for example, will set you a bit back, but that is that. Keeping up movements good. VonKluge for some reason not making a move towards this viewpoint, setting into the village. Now that is a bit unordinary. Usually, again, you'll see some sort of effort towards the viewpoint rather than just heading in towards the village. In fact, both players seem to be slightly not focusing on it. Then again, Heretik might be making a move for this one. VonKluge might also be heading towards it. The Grenadiers seems to be making a beeline for it. Second squad here hanging about doing nothing. Usually not a bad idea to have a rally point slightly forwards. And also, of course, not a bad idea to keep your troops moving. A mortar on the way then for Heretik. I mean, he's got not a lot of infantry. In fact, he's adding a mortar right now. I think that might be a bit early to conscript taking around the fire, fighting at the Grenadiers. Not really the best position for either. Neither side over there in cover. VonKluge going to make him do the light cover, so he has a better chance. And certainly he could have pulled up behind here as well. So this is overall not an early good engagement for either side. Neither side is in cover. Either side taking a bit exposed. We do now have some pioneers riding, some more gunners riding here from VonKluge. Maximum up, conscripts still need to get out of there. Quickly, comrades, get out of there. Unit preservation. Again, be mindful of the situation. Be mindful of the situation. Again, your troops low on health, down to 2 men. You've got grenadiers and pioneers around you. Press this button or T on the keyboard. Get out of there. This is not engagement. You can win. This is nothing where you can gain anything. Again, note what can you gain from the engagement, what can you lose. In this case, squad loss is very much imminent. Pull out. Much too late here. Much too late. And there you go. Squad wiped up already. Also opting initially for getting the maximum set of the building there. Sort of hope to suppress. Now, of course, forced to get another infantry squad. Had he had a bit more initially, he might work better up. He needs to connect, by the way. Oh, it's already connected, but this needs to be connected by here. Overall, again, we're noting VonKluge doesn't exactly have a lot of territory either. I mean, he's got this, and this is opponent barely nothing either. I mean, in this case, it's actually a bit sort of a display of not very good map control understanding of that. Either player is barely moving around. And of course, right here we also see the issue with having too many support weapons compared to infantry. I mean, this mortar, for example, is now currently exposed and forced to fall back. He can't even defend his cutoff point, thus losing all connection to the fuel, and the maximum is just staying there. So already here, numerous issues are beginning to present themselves to our eyes. That is something rather noteworthy to keep in mind. Molotov's up, though again, I mean, he's only got one conscript squad, so really getting that upgrade is a bit limited in utility. You should rather be getting more infantry at the moment, not upgrades for that one infantry squad he actually has. Because the Molotov again will just be on them, and that's going to limit the overall effectiveness of it.
Conscripts can now throw Molotovs.
Still need to get this connected again, otherwise he's not getting anything out of this at all. Pretty much meaning he's getting no resources compared to his opponent. Of course, doesn't have fuel point himself, but still has more strategic points. And there go Molotov off. Also, one thing to note here, I mean, generally pulling off your troops farther away from the grenadiers actually gives them the advantage. Also note, cover is directional right here. Heretik making poor use of the cover. He should have been pulled up towards here, then maybe closer up to this. He's more interested in taking the fuel point, which again is not connected. In this case, Heretik does seem to be a bit of a heretic when it comes to the understanding of map control. He does not seem to believe in connection of territories. Or for that matter, cover.
Man down!
Of course, then he moves again. His unit preservation seems awfully bizarre. In fact, he's only being forced to trial for another Molotov versus VonKluge. Again, he should be pulling out of here in this case. Another conscript arriving. Conscripts here need to pull back. Come on, Heretik. Get out of there. Your men are not in a good condition. VonKluge, though, pulling off a nice sort of flank, trying to attack from the ankle again. Only waiting to the very, very last moment, not achieving much with it, and then retreating. Getting points here. VonKluge, though, also awfully spread out, not really possessing much in map control either. In fact, he's got a very small force as well. 3 Grenadiers and 1 Pioneer squad, already floating a bit of manpower there, though seems to be rapidly sorting that out. Maximum retain down here, I mean,
Yes, comrade.
sort of alright, but again, if your opponent keeps attacking somewhere else, you might want to shift the Maxim up there instead. Mindful up here, by the way, not a bad position, not a bad position.
Under attack!
Then we'll bet some must be someone where he can't just walk around on the ice.
Squad standing by!
Heretik needs to get out of there. Close to losing his entire squad. At least he's got some territory reconnected. He's once more gaining fuel. That is good. But again, cut-off point here. Very lightly guarded. In fact, he's getting a field gun. Now, you might say, what's wrong with getting a field gun? Well, the thing is, he's getting it so early into the game, it's not really going to do much. Again, he's not got enough combat troops. And at this stage, you really, unless your opponent's absolutely rushing for a scout car, you should be expecting one. So in this regard, it's not really very sensible. And the way he's also then rushing it off towards here makes no sense either. I mean, there's overall a lot of problems with how Heretik so far has approached map control and unit composition, because again, his unit composition is certainly also quite awkward. I mean, generally around for light vehicles, it's around more the 7 to 10 minute mark. I mean, again, you can sort of have it happen earlier if your opponent rushes forward heavily, but even then, I mean, the way again his forces are composed, rather, it's not very good. I mean, he should at least have 3 conscripts forward. I mean, as a Russian, you really, unless you're an absolutely seriously strong player who's very competent, you should always have at least 3 conscripts forward, preferably 4. Again, they're sort of forced back and forth, taking back that cut-off point, not really defending it. Again, making a move for the fuel point. I mean, at least it seems like he's got some idea of what harassment is.
Yes, comrade.
And so does VonKluge.
Grenade! Conscripts here.
But again, map control seems to be the issue here. Getting some guard squads set up out for Heretik. No reaction towards here. Again, he can't really react because he gets taken into, running into the minefield once more, losing more of the units. And no, you actually need these 2 points to get anything out of this point from the northern player's perspective. And MG42 pulled out here from VonKluge, nothing so far from the light mechanism complete, by the way. In fact, looks like he's adding more regular infantry, so a bit of an odd decision there by VonKluge. Getting it, but not then using it. Generally, then you not get it if you're not going to use it. Just a small comment there.
Secured.
Conscripts have to fall back here in the face of VonKluge's Truppen. Field gun actually used to secure territory, that's nice. Guardsmen arriving, no munitions for a DP upgrade. Get up there, connect this, then you get the fuel from here as well. Though so far just seems to be more intent on just denying fuel, or at least again not understanding that this is not connected. Again, note it's actually flashing in the minute, thus telling the player it is not connected. Actually doing alright, that's nice, though again actually a small concerted assault here from VonKluge can actually cleared up the attack from several angles. Since Maxim can't stop that, or for that matter gets a mortar. We do see a pack up now, that's good. Guardsman moving in here. Quick competition grenade. Not very well thrown, unfortunately. MG42 chance, alright, then a nice reaction from VonKluge there. Guardsmen will need to get out of there, retreat. When suppressed like this and act out grenades, you have no chance. Much too late again. He does seem to be reacting rather slowly. Not very energetically to these sort of threats. getting the victory point now. I mean, there's the clear idea of harassment going on there, but no sort of idea so far. We seem how to sort of chain it together into something bigger. There's still no connection here. In this department, he's now much slowly getting more fuel. And his opponent, some regards, except again, overall map control and overall then the vast majority of the strategic points lie within the control of VonKluge. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Practically almost all of them except one, which actually to some extent then gives him a bit more fuel. So some issues are present. Again, in how Heretik approaches map control over to VonKluge, who themselves gone for lightning warp. Been a bit while since we've seen that one. Used two guns, got up covered like machine guns. Nothing wrong there.
Yes.
Council say need to fall back. Again, this is another not going to win this engagement. Now, Nelpin versus troops in heavy cover with a light machine gun. That is not what generally tends to work out for you. One thing that generally takes me a good player is sort of reading the tactical situation. In this case, the tactical situation is not in his favour. He should retreat.
We are ready.
Here VonKluge made a bit too far of an approach. Generally, you can sort of basically only get up around here before the southern base MT, by the way, begins suppressing you. Guard squad ready to move out again. Need to get forward, get that point back. But again, map control rapidly falling out of the hands. And another unit wiped out and retreat. Again, Heretik's unit preservation and sort of ability to sort of coordinate a retreat is rather lacking. Another guard squad arriving. VonKluge is sort of holding out, and he's floating a ton of manpower. Again, another lovely little mundane of this issue. He could easily stand to take up, train some panzer gunners, do something. He could even build several caches right now. I mean, again, he's not really seen very much spirited engagement so far from Heretik. Is not suffering heavy losses, and so on. Of course, always a good thing. He might be very careful about walking into troops with a light machine gun.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Quick rough grenade here. In this case, Heretik was able to dodge it. Grenade off, and armor closing in those cases, but need to pull into cover in Deckung. Cover. Oh dear.
They're killing us! Soviet forces are engaging us!
Oh dear. I mean, still got the maximum down there, by the way. Seem to be slowly recapturing ground once more, which is something, I imagine. But VonKluge really needs to begin spending those resources. He's ultimately not really getting anything that being this withholding, only giving opponent a chance of getting back into the fight.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Grenadiers ready.
Overall, both players are a bit unfocused, rather spread out. Of course, the Soviets are sort of a bit more, you know, fair enough. But at the same time, the problem is he's not connecting. He's not chaining it together. So he's got one part of the idea, but he's rather lacking the other vital one in the longer run, which is overall giving his opponent a lot more resources and ensuring he doesn't get a lot of them. I mean, there's certainly a bit of a difference there between fuel axes, because again, none of the fuel points are currently connected. It doesn't matter if you hold both fuel points if you don't have them connected. He could easily be on par with VonKluge if he connected them, but he isn't. I mean, he's just sort of running around a bit willy-nilly. Certainly frustrating for VonKluge, I imagine, but at the same time, VonKluge is just getting resources. Again, problems with retreating time. Now VonKluge is actually using lightning wars. Jaeger upgrade to sort of get some gear for the 3 something increasing certain range firepower. That's nice. Again, moving forward, weapons. Another Maximus has arrived. Didn't secure the other Maximus. But again, for all his securing of the fuel point, he's never connecting them very solidly. I mean, there's a bit of a problem here in Heretik in sort of chaining things together in terms of map control, which is a bit of a unique, non-denoised mistake. Though again, I imagine there's still players who sort of make it. I mean, you know, not really think about much about map control. He's got 2 field guns, by the way. This one needs to be pulled back for reinforcements, by the way. One of them pointing sort of front direction. But again, not very much infantry, not very much in actually holding a proper front line. And the Maximum is about to get flanked.
Machine gun up, standing by.
Moving out there with the Gewehr freeze. Catching the Maximum in a rather bad spot. We know the support armor core is up.
Was ist los?
Getting close there to the maximum crew. Point blank, trying to go veterans, increasing accuracy, making the Gewehr much more lethal. And there he goes, actually using tactical movement to outmaneuver it. That's impressive. Right here, of course, I mean, once that Max gets outmaneuvered that way, he really just pull it back. Had he not been using tactical movement, he might have been able to sort of get away with it. But again, you know, you read the situation as it changes. In this case, the troops splitting out thanks to tactical movement, you actually consider getting out of there. But again, Heretik does seem to be a bit slow on the optic, if I have to say it like that.
Yes?
He reacts rather slowly to the situation, and again, that's why you then sort of have tactics, so you don't have to rely sort of so much on swift reactions, but can sort of at least sort of to a certain extent alleviate that. But again, he's trying to sort of play fully on that micromanagement while he's perhaps clearly not as strong on it, and certainly seems to be lacking strategy and tactics as well. Guards be attacking across open ground, cover, grenade off the grenadiers, and for once does something, but again, Guards infantry needs to get out of there. Another guard squad movement might be able to get these grenadiers though. VonKluge might find himself a squad loss against floating a ton of manpower. Really needs to do something about that.
Infantry rested and ready to advance rapidly.
And we're seeing a tank with a tank command going up though again, lacking fuel again, barely controlling the fuel. More particularly the point connecting the fuel. And we're learning here Stormcatcher to survive for VonKluge. Also, it is time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is not exactly looking good for the Soviet player. Lots of issues, again, largely pertaining to a certain amount of inactivity, but again, also an inability to connect territories, and apparently thus some kind of map dyslexia, if you will. Not reading how you sort of connect maps, maybe not even understanding the mechanics behind it. Either way, end result is he's got both viewpoints. He's got some nice resources overall, but again, he's not getting them because he's not connecting with them. Again, his map control is abysmal. I mean, it's the first time I think I've seen a player that much struggle with simple map control. I mean, again, you know, this is here to teach me, of course, not to sort of be going, oh, what a complete bastard, let's hope he rots in hell, or something like that. That's not how we do it here. Though, of course, we might voice our criticism in a rather stern manner, but still, it's a bit baffling how he sort of keeps continuing at this. And what sort of leads to it. Again, his unit composition is hardly good. His unit preservation also suffers some issues. He's sort of running around with infantry all over the place, not really making good use of cover and whatnot. Of course, VonKluge is sort of, you know, handling things correctly. He's flooding a ton of resources though, again, which is not good. He should definitely get more troops or something. Or he's built some cash to sort of then expedite other resource incomes. And of course, one reason might be, you know, he's not getting all of those troops because, you know, he doesn't want to manage them because then he might lose something. Which I suppose is a fair enough or right idea, but at the same time, had he been facing a much more competent opponent, this could easily turn into a rather backfiring little thing against him. So he needs to be a bit more careful in that regard. But of course, with the Stuttgart, a bit of an infantry counterattack towards here would certainly help him. Bit of leading way, Stug following up, clearing out here. Pentamal machine gun here would also do well. Get up a fuel cache or two, get up a second Stug to sort of provide support, and then maybe aim for a Tiger tank, get up some munitions caches, and then sort of boost stuff like relief infantry, tactical movement, and the Stuga close air support if armor ever happens from our Soviet friend. And of course, for Heretik, it's pretty much straightforward, needs to be done. Connect this point with this so you can get back some fuel. Same here. Maybe consider fuel cache here or munitions cache to sort of help guard this. Get some more infantry. Get out some T-34s as soon as humanly possible. Get the field guns out a bit more close to the front line. At least have this one sort of lead the way. Get this one reinforced. Then move it forwards as well. Start attacking and start attacking a bit more coherently. Since again, one of his issues is he's just not very coherent in what he does. Back to VonKluge, back to the fight. Friendly is in a light spot of trouble. Fuel point there again secured. Conscripts need to retreat again. Low on health, facing off against troops with a light machine gun. Come on, Heretik. Unit preservation. Again. Does not seem to exist in his dictionary. or compassion or altruism, whatever. Might he finally reconnect here? I mean, again, he's barely getting any fuel. Had he been slightly more on the top of things when actually securing these points, he'd probably already have the fuel for a tank by now. Instead, it's quite the opposite. He's barely got fuel for a half track right now. And that's why, again, they're holding both fuel points for the majority of the match. Again, that ought to give you an indicator of some of the issues here facing Heretik. And now we've got the Stormtroopers rolling forwards. I mean, still got the idea of harassment, right? I mean, he's going for the victory point, trying to deny resources, other things. That's not half bad. But he's a bit too, again, sort of scatterbrained. Another bit of tactical movement. Carter needs to fall back, low on health, low on numbers. And Heretik does it again. Unless, in this case, he actually got lucky, the motor cleared out. Stormtroopers is the only one clearing out the Maxim. Maxim just needs to get out of there, there's no chance of that one being saved. That would just be a waste of manpower right there by Heretik. Well, another waste of manpower. So really just needs to get it out of there. Guardsmen nearby, they need to retreat. Come on, Heretik. Please. And never mind. And the Maxim loss again. Unit preservation is clearly one of those issues alongside map control that apparently is something that really boggles Heretik rather. Unfortunately, for VonKluge, it's apparently just manpower expenditures that seems to be his nemesis. Again, he could easily be expending that manpower on something else. I mean, he's now got manpower to replace the infantry, and so only got sort of down to 3 squads. So that could be something to consider. Panzer Grenadiers, squad, something. Another Maxim rolled out on its own. Need to be a bit less reckless there, Heretik. Again, you doesn't quite seem to understand how Fox weapons will work in this case. You see again why the Maxim can be so powerful. Since again, it is a lot harder to just clear out. And in this case, he got caught right in front of it. In which case, the Maxim easily cleared out the squad more or less. Looks like he also lost the guard squad up here. Again, manpower losses are massive for Heretik compared to VonKluge. Again, that's got to do with unit preservation, a lack of cover, and a lack apparently of just even more simple tactical awareness. At least he sort of got this slightly connected. Again, the fuel points finally been taken back by VonKluge, although that took him almost 20 minutes to get around to doing that. Now we've got field guns firing the Stuke. Stuke should just pull back. Reverse move. Gets the hell out of there, Helmut. No. Set the Stuke. Got blown to bits. So right in that department, VonKluge does display some issues in actually handling assault guns. Seem to think they're a bit taxed and also pulling them back in time. So VonKluge might also have some slight map control issues. Another Grenadier squad, another Gewehr 43 upgrade. Submachine guns being equipped for some of the conscripts. Quick barrels versus the MD-42, switching on to 10 jumping rounds. Not a bad idea, though in this case with the barrage firing away there, he might want to consider getting out of there before any sort of irreversible losses happen.
How can we help?
Back to Heretik. His unit count low as ever as he continues bleeding up manpower like a sea. And right here, of course, another issue. Trying to engage a long-range human machine gun with submachine guns. That's overall a losing engagement again. Heretik needs to pull out of here. Retreat. Fall back. No, don't do that. What are you thinking? They're submachine guns. They only work up close. Like machine guns work at all ranges. Again, Heretik does not seem to be very strong tactically. Needs to sort of work on that. Work on using cover, work on using character, and overall just work on reading the situation and how it might actually work for him. Now the Stuke might go down though. And again, VonKluge does seem to have some slight issues himself when actually handling the Stuke. Need to be a bit more careful with it. Guards engaging the Grenadier Squad Lamp Machine again. Be careful with them. They are powerful. For a reason. Need to retreat again. Unit preservation. Oh, no.
Close air support is available.
Just hang out there. Still not secured this either.
Guards troops ready for action.
More guards simply arriving. He's certainly bleeding out a guards company at this rate, or a battalion.
Engineer standing by.
You need something done.
Can't need to retreat again. He's upgrading blindly submachine guns. Come on.
A squad of infantry has been killed.
Replacing the conscripts, that's nice. VonKluge almost at 2,000 manpower. I mean, if VonKluge basically just expending his resources in a slightly more sensible manner, he could probably already won this match because he could easily flood his opponent, take him down very quickly and steamroll him. Instead, what VonKluge is doing while still floating a ton of manpower, I mean, that's not exactly good either.
Yes, comrade.
We have more conscripts at our disposal.
I mean, this is definitely not necessarily the most exciting Monday Novice fight, and again, I suppose, I mean, yes, just want something else than just 2 versus 2s all the time. Here's something a bit more 1 versus 1s, but sort of the problem was, to a large extent, is they pretty much always tend to be a bit more, you know, struggling like this in one manner. Much more greater issues with manpower and preservation, unit preservation, because again, there's no one to rely on to a certain extent. I mean, it's nice to see, of course, people try, but the grenade exchange here, the rifle grenadiers got a bit better after that. Field gun here, left on his own still. Maximum course, by the way, can't recover here very well. Guard squad moving up.
We are awaiting orders.
Guard squad needs to pull back.
Taking fucking
Yes, comrade.
Maxim still not pointing in a helpful direction. Relief infantry up, that's a bit of a rarely used ability, and we're seeing a Tiger arriving as well from VonKluge. Situation is definitely looking more in his advantage now. Then again, it's not like he's been struggling. He's largely been getting it easy thanks to Heretik's rather criminal unit preservation. Again, throwing away units willy-nilly. He's finally, by the way, getting a tank. And again, had he had slightly better map control, he could have had that tank much sooner. Instead, he ended up getting it at the same time as opponent gets a Tiger tank, and that's even expending 2 and 2 assault guns.
HMG ready for
I mean, if Heretik is watching this, he really needs to get it together in the map control department. I've never really seen anyone struggle that much with even connecting a fuel point like that. And I'm sorry again if I sound a bit harsh, but this is some rather particularly curious stuff, which is also one reason I want to cast it, because again, you know, if someone is actually playing this, it clearly means others are as well. And clearly I need to say something about it, and maybe sort of try to provide some helpful hints. Again, you know, connect, focus instead, you know, on small amounts of territory, then still trying to grasp more than you can. Because clearly, Heretik is a very ambitious player, but he clearly can't, you know, follow up with it. He's shooting off much more than he can bite. Which is not exactly good. Now go for VonKluge, he makes a major mistake. He spoke to the rear arm of his Tiger, the field guns. That is a bad idea if there was one. Oh, they got cleared out though, because Heretik is not covering his field guns. Giving VonKluge a chance of getting them out easily. And in the end, he was close to getting the Tiger, thanks to VonKluge's mistakes, but instead, his own mistakes bit him rather viciously in the arse. And he's just sort of blindly charging ahead. He doesn't even anti-tank grenades. He's clearly not paying attention to what's actually happening on the battlefield. Again, his tactical sense is rather rotten. Conscripts get out of there. In this case, he actually retreats somewhat in time. Small miracle right there for Heretik. For once, he actually retreats a unit in time.
Engineer standing
What do you
And
need?
I really shouldn't have to comment on that. VonKluge still got a ton of manpower, speeding this out a bit. And again, my apologies for this not being the most exciting, but again, Monday Novice fights such as anything more about helping less experienced players get better in the game. Thus, hopefully leading to an overall increase in players who actually stay around playing the game for a longer term. So this is more about, you know, helping the community in the larger run as well.
You need something built?
Though of course, again, they should try to, you know, to learn from more experienced players. Probably again, even then, it seems to help, you know, if you sort of bring in some of the more common mistakes they might make, because a lot of them might be more for them the high level play, a bit more mysterious, a bit more ethereal. Since again, they might still be struggling on this level again. Unit control, unit preservation, and map control. And again, that's really the major issue for Heretik. He's constantly sort of trying to bite off more than he can chew in terms of map control. He seems to sort of be playing like a sort of higher ranking player, but he clearly can't pull it off quite well. Which is an end actually gives VonKluge a massive advantage, despite VonKluge himself having some huge issues himself. Again, just blindly charging in. Having these wiped out.
More of our troops have been lost.
Let's go and speed this up a bit again.
We have been spotted.
Units wiped out there.
The enemy has killed enough. Supply lines.
But at this stage, I mean, Heretik's actually blasted, so I might as well just speed up these last few moments. Not really there. And there we go. Yeah, you lost, I'm afraid. You lost. Again, not the most exciting one, not the most sort of spectacular one, but still I think had some valuable points again, because we really saw one player with some very unfortunate decisions. I mean, there clearly was some ambition, some thoughts of greatness, some grandeur, but again, basically the things that could actually lead to it was not there. Basically like someone who wanted to paint the Mona Lisa but couldn't even draw a straight line, if you will. So that's sort of basically the issue again. He needs to sort of tone down his ambition initially, sort of focus more on slighter parts of the map at a time. You know, instead of saying, oh, right, I want to both fuel points, and at least try to focus on having one fuel point there and connect it. I mean, there's some particular concern he's gone for support weapon company, which rather plays in a slightly more, you know, focused style. Instead, he played a lot more recklessly, and again, that really doesn't favour the sort of buildings he went for. So that was one major issue already there for Heretik. Again, there was a slight of dysfunction between what he was intending and what he was then actually using. So overall, that did not play very well together. Again, the fuel points were barely connected, so again, clearly an issue with sort of understanding map control. That's also something he needs to sort of work on. Again, you need them connected before you get anything from them. Unit preservation was another major issue. He constantly sent troops into a situation they could not win, and even then he'd not retreat them until maybe it was extremely too late. So that's also something he's working again, also why he would benefit from focusing down more, because then he could sort of control what units have much more effectively, instead of having one unit here, which also makes it a lot harder to control, in particular if you're an inexperienced player. I mean, attention is an important resource, and thus it's actually something you need to train to sort of manage troops over a longer and larger part of the map. So generally you need to sort of focus down, sort of slowly take it from there, slowly but surely, occasionally send up more and more troops to harass, but again, don't have your troops initially, particularly new to game, split all over the map, because that's going to never make sure you sort of get it properly. I mean, you might sort of get there eventually, but I think the other approach is going to work much more safely and a lot more constructively for you. So I think, you know, if Heretik looks into that, I think he'll actually find himself playing much better and, you know, actually winning maybe a bit more. For VonKluge, sort of better play. We saw some clever use there of the tactical movement, I'll give him that. Assault guns, though, he needs to work on. He's a bit, you know, quite doesn't understand, you know, the strengths of the assault gun. He himself needs to work a bit, you know, in using cover and such, but overall he displayed a better sort of, you know, approach to things. He could learn how to sort of attack a situation or position just like that a bit more aggressively. I mean, he stood around for 20 minutes. A proper assault from a few angles could easily clear that out, so that's something I think VonKluge could learn. But again, expending manpower is really something we need to work on caches, or just get more troops, mortars. I mean, he could easily gotten a mortar early on and cleared out that maximum, but again, it never quite happened. So there are some issues there again for VonKluge, but not quite as bad. Though his opponent had gone for more resources, I'm pretty sure this could have been over by the 15 to 20 minute mark. So there you go. I hope you learned something from this Monday Night's fight. Yes, it's a bit different from the previous. Once again, I sort of tried to sort of mix things up if possible. And again, just also many 2 versus 2s. And again, I figure some people want a 1 versus 1 to look on, because they do play differently, even on the novice level. Because again, there's a lot less to rely on. Again, that's also to an extent why I do suggest people actually playing 1 versus 1s. Because 2 versus 2s have a nasty tendency of leaving players with sort of bad habits, because there's usually someone else to cover up for them. I mean, yes, 1 versus 1 can be a lot more brutal, a lot more unrelenting, and certainly that can also feel a lot less good because you feel you're just so hopeless, but at the same time, 1 versus 1s teach you to be a lot more independent, a lot more sensible in what you do, and that overall teaches you a lot more good habits, which can also be transferred over to team games like 2 versus 2s. At least that's in my opinion. But, of course, that's just my opinion. But hopefully you understood this, hopefully you got something out of this, hopefully you will not make the same mistakes now if you watch this and have them, actually make them to a certain extent, when you'll play the game. If you did, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in a replay and provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers and see you tomorrow.